say this right off the bat. A lot of businesses didn't fail because they weren't good. They failed because they were built in a bubble. What we saw in 2005 through 2007 is coming back. Different face, same trap. And if you're not paying attention, you'll fall for it again if you were in business back then. And just in case you weren't, let's take a moment and let's go back. Let's look at where all of what you're experiencing right now actually really started. This is episode number 1 in a 4-part series where I'm walking you through the last 20 years of the market. I'm doing this specifically for coaches and consultants because I want to help you to understand what you're experiencing right now, because here is the truth. If you do not understand the season that you are in, you will continue thinking that there is something wrong with you and something wrong with your business, when it's actually not you or your business. It's literally just the market cycle. Here's how the series is going to flow. In this first episode, we're going to get into the calm before the crash. In our second episode, we're going to get into the crash, the climb, and the comeback. In our third episode, we'll go from pandemic peaks to the mature market. And in episode number 4, we'll get into what I'm calling the fortification years. And if you're just meeting me, I am Dr. Darnyelle Jervey Harmon. I am the founder and CEO of Incredible One Enterprises. We are a business transformation company focused on serving 6-figure service-based entrepreneurs who have a desire to make, move, and leave millions. As the creator of the Move to Millions method, I've helped hundreds of entrepreneurs scale their businesses to high 6 and 7 figures by building businesses that can grow in any economy. So let's jump into where this all began. 2005 through 2006, I'm calling the illusion of success. Now, back in 2005, everything looked amazing. The economy was booming. People were buying homes. I bought homes. Money was moving fast. And all of a sudden, so many people were getting into this industry called coaching. Everyone had an offer. And if you had a logo and a link tree, you were in business. But under all of that excitement was something really dangerous. No real foundation. People were making sales, but not building businesses. They were making promises that they couldn't keep. They didn't have the systems and infrastructure that would actually allow them to scale and sustain businesses. They just had a lot of confidence and a little bit of cash flow. Now, I was just leaving corporate America at this time. I was starting my Mary Kay Cosmetics consulting business full time, and I was watching as many of my colleagues took the severance package that was offered at the company where we worked to go and become coaches and consultants. And I'll admit, although I didn't start out right away as a coach and consultant, I was envious, and it was something that I definitely saw in my purview. Now, by 2007, the bottom began to fall out. The housing market collapsed. Banks broke down. Banks went bankrupt. And buyers, they started freezing. Overnight, sales cycles started to lengthen. I had several former colleagues reporting that their coaching or consulting business had dried up. The contract stopped contracting, and all of those cushy speaker fees that they were getting, they were literally vanishing out of thin air. All of those flashy brands, they were literally disappearing overnight. And here's what's important. People didn't stop needing support, but because the economy dipped, people stopped trusting so quickly. They needed more proof. They needed process. They needed to feel safe. Now, it was October the 1st, 2007, when I personally decided to send my pink Cadillac back to Mary Kay Cosmetics and start my own coaching and consulting business. Yeah, it was the right goal, but it was absolutely the wrong time. First, it took me nearly 9 months to make my very first time as a coach and consultant and speaker. And by then, I was on the verge of filing bankruptcy. I ended up having to file that bankruptcy right away. And listen, I'll admit, I was wet behind the ears. I had no clue what was going on, nor did I have a clue what I was doing. I just had a desire to do some really meaningful work, and the thought of coaching and consulting other businesses and individuals, it was right up my alley. It was what I thought would make the biggest difference for me. I thought that getting on stage and sharing my story was the way for me to do that meaningful work. Now, little did I know that I would be back working a job to avoid living in my car because of the Great Recession. I didn't know. Who knew, right? Now, don't get me wrong. I didn't give up. But I did get a job in order to supplement my income and to give myself the space to not end up living in my car. I worked that job for 2 years, and while I was working that job, I became a student of all things business, including the market and how to grow in a time when that seemed to be hard to do. Now, here's what actually would have worked back then and what is actually working now. And I think it's important to say this because you've probably heard the saying that there's nothing new under the sun. Part of the reason why I created what is today the Move to Millions method is because I understand that the tenets of business are the tenets of business. There are 3 pillars in the Move to Millions method I'm going to talk to you about right now, and they are the difference that helped me and my earliest clients turn a corner in the Great Recession. Number 1, strategy optimization. Now, I'm not talking about tactics. I'm not just talking about launching. I'm talking about a full-blown actual business model with a mapped client journey, with pricing that made sense and ensured profit, and real offers that solved real problems at real price points that created real transformation and real profitability. Number 2 was having the right sales infrastructure. No more post and pray. I'm talking about a real sales system that made it easy to get prospects to say yes, from consultations and follow-ups to nurture sequence that built trust. And number 3, success mindset. Because if you didn't believe that you could make it during that time, trust and believe that you wouldn't. And there are many who didn't. But the ones who kept moving forward, they were doing this kind of deep work. Now, today, the Move to Millions method has 7 pillars. But these first 3 that I just shared with you, they are the game changers that defy the economy. They are literally market agnostic. Now, here's the thing. We are not in a recession right now, although the risk keeps inching higher and higher. But we are in a moment that feels very familiar to what was going on between 2005 and 2007 and into 2008 and 2009. Buyers are moving slower. Trust is lower, and the hype, it doesn't work, which means you have to be more than visible, although visibility is absolutely important. You're gonna have to become viable. You're going to have to solve a spice problem, a specific, pervasive, insurmountable, clear, and expensive problem that your ideal clients cannot solve on their own, and you have to introduce yourself to them in a way that allows them the time and space to build trust with you so that they can allow you to solve their deepest problems. And that work is going to come from doing the work inside of your business, not just on the surface of your business. Now, in the next episode, I'm going to talk to you about what happened between 2007 and 2015. We'll look at how smart coaches and consultants climbed back, what strategies actually worked during that time that are still working today, and how some of them started to hit 6 and 7 figures during what was considered conceivably a very slow, mature market. Now, I personally had my first 6-figure year in 2010 after coming really close in 2009. And here's what I want you to understand. When you understand the full cycle of the market, it allows you to stop panicking and put you in a position to begin planning. So let me ask you a question. Are you building your business for this current season that we are in? Or are you building a business that the season you're in, it will cease to matter? Because I want you to understand that the market will always shift. But if you do build your business the right way, you won't have to. Now, I want to invite you to move on to episode number 2, the crash, the climb, and the comeback. And if this episode offered you some powerful insights, would you do me a favor? Leave a positive comment and subscribe so that you'll be notified when I share more powerful insights. I'll see you in the next episode. Take care.